Hello, and welcome to the Missa Est podcast. I'm Anna, and today I'd like to talk to you about a video I actually made a couple years ago. And it's the one that I've probably gotten the most questions on, so I want to go a little deeper into what I was talking about there and what I've discovered through continuing to pray and ponder with this topic. In that video, I talked about speaking the truth in love and how when we are communicating the truth, we can't just rely on, well, these are facts. And so it doesn't matter what you think or feel about them. If they're true, you need to accept them. Harshness is not a way to communicate the truth. One of my instructors in spiritual direction school reminded us frequently that brutal honesty is simply brutality. That just because something has facts behind it, the way we present it is part of the truth. Jesus said, I am the way. The how matters. The way, the truth, and the life. The content of what we say needs to be true and accurate. The way we communicate it needs to be Christ-like. And ultimately, just like when we talk about any kind of discernment, we look at the fruits. Does this bring life? Or does it deal in death? And so the questions I got regarding this seem to often come from people whose loved ones had left the church, who were either practicing in another tradition that they didn't feel held the fullness of truth, or far from a relationship with God at all. And this was distressing to them, and they came to me in some anxiety, wanting an answer about, okay, but how do I tell them what the truth is in such a way that they'll listen to me, basically? How do I be nice about it? And here's where I think the misunderstanding comes in. Speaking the truth in love has little to do with niceness. In our culture, and for women especially, I have found, in my experience anyway, that we kind of idolize niceness, politeness, often at the expense of real love. When I dig into this with people in spiritual direction, when they think the way they need to make a choice, or to interact with someone, or to even do something for themselves is rooted in niceness. I need to be nice. That's the holy thing to do. I need to overgive. I need to not say anything. I need to do whatever this person wants. I need to not take care of myself in order to not take up too much space, in order to not rock the boat, in order to not upset people, in order to just get things done and not create any kind of disturbance. We go to discernment. All right, this is the choice you're making. How's that showing up in your life? How's that showing up in your relationships? How is it showing up in your own heart and mind and body? More often than not, it's showing up as resentment. This is the fruit of a life rooted in niceness, of idolizing politeness over real love. We don't get in touch with our real self, and therefore can't set healthy boundaries because we don't know where the boundary is. We don't know what's mine and what's not. We've forfeited our right to decide for ourselves what's okay and what's not. And this is going to cause chaos. This is going to cause inner turmoil. And then, if we haven't recognized what we're doing, if we haven't recognized we're idolizing niceness, we blame ourselves. I'm not being nice enough. We dig ourselves deeper into this hole of resentment. And what I have discovered about resentment is it's a very important messenger, just like all our other emotions. Typically, in my experience, in myself and in interacting with my directees and helping them discover what's happening inside themselves, resentment typically lets us know that we're not giving ourselves permission to do or choose what we actually want and need. We're watching somebody else reap the benefits of our overgiving, of our not speaking up, and thinking must be nice. Very often, we're the ones not giving ourselves that permission. Are people going to push back when we give ourselves that permission? Heck yes. People who are accustomed to our niceness, people who are relying on our niceness to stay in probably some unhealthy patterns, they're not going to like that. This is where the love comes in for ourselves and for others. Love is about the truth, not just about facts, not just about this is what you're supposed to do and that's the truth, not just about what you can find in the catechism. These are the facts, this is how we do things, follow the rules. The facts and the rules do not constitute the fullness of truth. Christ, the incarnation of the living God, love himself, is the truth. Choosing him, surrendering to him. This is how we not only speak, but live the truth in love. As I've pondered and prayed with this, I think what I've discovered is that it's maybe less about speaking the truth in love, saying hard things nicely so that people will do what we want. It's more about speaking the truth of love, of actually living, embodying, discovering for ourselves, claiming this is the truth, this is the way, and this is life. Choosing the path of life, letting it soak into us, is going to be fruitful. There's a retreat I offer on giving. I typically offer this retreat to people who are living a life of serving others. And though these people might love their work, they often get tired. And one of the central themes of this retreat is, are we giving to ourselves? People are a little taken aback by that. What do you mean give to myself? I'm supposed to give to other people. That's the way Christ does things. Christ doesn't give to himself. Yes, he does. Christ in the Gospels constantly steps away to a quiet place to be with his Father by himself in prayer. Christ gives to himself. And there's clamoring about it. There's clamoring, why aren't you here? Why aren't you doing the things? Why aren't you speaking to the people? Why aren't you busy? Christ does not idolize niceness. Christ gives to himself and therefore can be a true man of service, can be truly in love, can live truly the ways of love, can speak not only in love, but really communicate what this is all about and invite us into it as well. How are we going to invite people into the greatest love story that there is if we're not even there? Where are we trying to lead them into? We must be people in love. The other thing I've discovered is people who have walked away from the church or a relationship with God typically have done so for relational reasons. I encounter people very often who think they just must not know. They must not know the facts. They must not know about the true presence. They must not know what you're supposed to do and how important it is. And there's another kind of knowing. Some languages have two different words for the word know. K-N-O-W in English. We share that verb between I know that 2 and 2 is 4, factual knowing, and I know that person. It's not that I know that that person exists, but I have witnessed the truth. I have become familiar. I have encountered this person. I have met them. Other languages actually have two separate words for these. In Spanish, you have saber for knowing factual things. Do you know what 2 and 2 is? Oh, yo sé. I know. But do you know that person? You would not say saber. You would say conocer. Yo conozco él. I know him. I am familiar with him. Even when you're talking about, do you know how to get around this neighborhood? Do you conoces este vecino? I think that's right. I need to practice my Spanish. Do you know this neighborhood? Are you familiar with this place? Have you met it? Have you encountered it? Is it in your heart? Do you know it by heart? In Chinese, you have 知道. 我知道. I know. You also have 我认识. 知道 means I know factually. Yeah, I know what time class is today. 我认识他. I know him. I have met him. When we speak of God, we often get overly intellectual. Let's not intellectualize the truth that actually came to us in the form of a person. Yeah, it's good to study our faith. It's important. There's some facts we need to know. There's some intellectual work and formation to be done. That's part of who we are. Our intellect needs to be formed in the ways of God. But if we idolize this, if we intellectualize a person into a concept, into a set of rules, we've missed the point of who he is. And of course, people aren't going to be attracted to that because it's not the truth. The truth is not meant to be fragmented. Christ has come to make us whole. He invites us to know, 认识, to meet, to encounter that truth. The truth that he is and that we live. This is what's attractive to people. And when we don't live that, when people grow up in abusive homes, when people grow up in homes where there were some relational struggles, even if people did their best, if they grew up in a faith community that didn't see them as whole persons, that was more concerned about whether they're following the rules and getting the facts right, or just skimming the surface instead of really going into the depth of their own personhood and encountering the personhood, the love of Christ, well, they're not going to be attracted to that because it's not the whole truth. How do we face this? Often I see people trying to speak the facts to their children or their loved ones who they want to come back into relationship with God and the church. And if they would just know, if they would just come to church on Sundays, if they would just do all the right things, one, my anxiety would be lessened. And 2, they'd be doing the right thing, so that's good. 1, other people are not the solution to our anxiety. If it's really for them, then we will have the patience to give them what they actually need and not ask them to fix something in us. And 2, they're probably missing something. It's probably love. How do we communicate that to them? It's not from a book. It's not in a YouTube video, not even a good Catholic one. It's not in a daily email. It's not in the catechism. It's in us. It's the love of Christ that has been poured into us. That's what they need. It's what everybody needs. Here's the thing, we can't just tell them about it. Remember that word, to know. Renshur, conocer. To be familiar, to meet, to encounter. This is how we speak the truth of being in love. They've got to meet him. Just like the woman at the well who, when Christ knew her, ran back into her town to say, "Come see a man who knows me." And they come and they listen to him and they welcome him into their lives. And they say to her after they get to know him, "We no longer believe because of what you said, but because we have met him ourselves." She introduced them to him through the ways he had changed her. She walked around as a woman in love. That gets people's attention. Who is it that makes you act this way? Are we walking around transformed by the sacrament and by the love that we want people so badly to be in touch with? Are we in touch with it? Are we letting it transform our lives and actually bear fruit? People will notice if we are. Maybe not in big numbers, maybe not in people are lining up to get baptized. It's often quieter than that. It's often more subtle. It often takes more time. But this is the way that's more real. And if we are talking to people about God, which, praise God, we can do in this country, but I think a lot of people have discovered not everybody likes that. And there's a lot of very valid reasons for that. People have been deeply hurt by the followers of Christ. We've gone wrong in a lot of ways, and we need to own those. And so this inability, if you will, to speak explicitly about God is actually an opportunity, in my opinion, of grace to dig deeper, to find out what our faith is really about. We can't just rely on read this book, do this thing. Oh, phew, you're going to church, I did my job. No, we have to be that love. It can't just be, well, God loves you. Well, who is he? You haven't shown me. This community hasn't shown me. I have to love you. I have to be the love of Christ for you. I have to communicate my love for you in whatever relational context is right for us. Whether you're my child or my friend or my neighbor or a stranger. I must trust the love of Christ that has been poured into me. I must encounter that love. And then I must communicate it to you. This is a little bit of an unpleasant example, but when we think about communicable diseases, the reason they get shared and caught and brought to life in other people isn't because we tell people about the disease, it's because we breathe it onto them. They encounter it. It enters them and comes to life. Now, imagine the power of something good like love. People do not have love communicated to them. People do not have truth communicated to them just by being told about it. It's still a concept. God is a person who must be encountered. Good news, we are persons. We can be encountered. He lives in us. In the Eucharistic prayer, we say, through him, with him, and in him. This is how we live. This is how we communicate the truth. This is the truth of who we are. So what do we do? First, if this is something you're struggling with, how do I communicate to the people I love just how amazing God is? Slow down. There's a saying in therapy that slower is faster. And time again for me it has proven true. If we're trying to go fast, if we're trying to skip over steps, we are going to miss the subtleties. We are going to miss the ways God has written into us, the places where we actually receive truth. We can't bypass our design. He put us together. He has the patience and the knowledge and the understanding to work with our process, to work in his own design. Slow down. Second, check in with how this is making you feel. What's it like for you when this person is far from a relationship with God? Does it bring up anxiety for you? Tend to that. What does that anxiety say? What's the story behind it? Does it say, I failed as a parent? Does it say, I'm afraid what people will think of me when this child of mine, for example, doesn't go to church? Is there shame? Is there fear? Is there sadness? Is there grief? Is there anger? Get in touch with what this is like for you, and don't ask that other person to solve those emotions. Express them in trusted places. Draw them if you need to. Pray about it. Ask God, show me my own heart. Because it's your heart that's what's going to connect with this person that you love and want to communicate the truth of God to. Third, check in on how's my relationship with this person? How is it between me and this person that I love? Are there any tangles in that relationship that need to be worked through? Soaked in the detangler of grace and prayer and maybe some forgiveness. Maybe some owning of, wow, I really didn't listen. Of, hey, I was harsh with you and that wasn't right of me. I want to begin again. Will you forgive me? And that's a big part of what's often missing in these relationships is a deep listening to that other person. What is their experience? We can't ask them to override that. Faith is not about overriding our humanity. It's about deepening into it and discovering the life Christ came here to bring us and to renew in us and to breathe into us. You've got to listen to people's lived reality, no matter how messy it is, no matter how much we may disagree with their perspective. It's not about getting it right. It's about being present. Christ didn't come to make bad people good. Christ didn't come to fix us. He came to offer his presence to us. This is what heals us. This is what we now have living in us, living with and through us, that brings healing to a hurting world. Have we let him transform us? Have we checked in with what our own reality is so that we can even listen deeply to another's reality? To be with them in that, not to say absolutely I agree with everything, but to say I hear you and I'm with you and I want to understand you. That prayer of St. Francis offers us so much. O Divine Master, let me not seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. Can we set down our books for a minute? Can we calm our anxious hearts by reminding ourselves that he is here? He is the truth. He is the way. That his way, much more than our own anxious ways, will get us where we need to go. Will get the people we love where they need to go in his time, in his way. Can we focus on our relationship with others, trusting that these human relationships form our understanding of our relationship with God? Can we trust that we have what we need in our own person? Can we trust the indwelling presence of Christ to speak to that person through the simplicity of our love? This is what it means to speak the truth in love. It means to be in love. And to speak the truth of that love. To live a life transformed. Not one where we always get it right, but one that's made of a desire for life, for ourselves and for others. One that's made of tender mercy, forgiveness and compassion. One that doesn't beat ourselves up or want to anxiously hustle others into getting things right either. One that trusts that how we communicate, how we live, how we love is important. The way is important. This is what it means. At least that's what I've discovered. And so I invite you to take some quiet time today to get in touch with what is the truth of my faith? How has it changed my life? Maybe how can I just spend some time in gratitude for that, letting it sink in a little deeper, trusting that a life transformed will be fruitful. It will attract. It will communicate in a very tangible way the love that we want to share with the world. Friends, I thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.